Welcome to this explainer. Okay, we're jumping right into something absolutely massive today. We're unpacking the April 2026 executive order, which is literally the most sweeping overhaul to the U.S. retirement system since the 401k launched way back in 1978. It's a fundamental shift in how we save, and you really need to know exactly how this is going to work.
So, let me ask you, is your 401k about to fundamentally change? You know, over the past 16 months, we've seen this huge wave of updates introduced. I'm talking about 12 massive changes that are quietly reshaping your financial future right now. Honestly, a lot of people haven't even noticed these developments yet, but they're going to drastically alter how your savings operate in the coming years.
All right, let's dive into this. To make sense of it all, we're going to break these 12 policy changes into three simple buckets. First, accessibility and automation. Second, flexibility and frontiers. Third, loopholes and tweaks. And then we'll wrap it all up by looking at the broader picture, the macro shift.
So, Section 1, Accessibility and Automation, Rebuilding the Basics.
Now, traditionally, 401ks have had these three major pain points, right? High management fees, restricted access, and the fact that they're basically locked to your specific job. But contrast that with the proposed Trump IRA concept that's slated for 2027. This new framework is designed to be universal. That means open access across all income levels and total portability. Basically, it just follows you seamlessly from career to career.
And speaking of fees, check out this number, 0.15%. That is the target for ultra-low management fees in this new system. But it gets even more interesting, especially if we look at low and middle income earners. A related policy expansion actually introduces a federal savings match, so eligible earners could receive government contributions straight into their retirement accounts. We're talking up to $1,000 a year for individuals and up to $2,000 for married couples. The goal is pretty straightforward, just boost those balances to encourage long-term saving.
Plus, to stop workers from missing out on years of compound interest, the system is fully shifting to automatic 401k enrollment. So, for newer programs, you won't even have to fill out a mountain of paperwork. You'll just be opted in on day one. Your contribution rates will automatically start somewhere between 3% and 10% of your paycheck. If you actually want out, well, you'll have to explicitly raise your hand and opt out yourself.
Moving right along to Section 2, Flexibility and Frontiers, New Assets and Accounts.
Imagine a proposed setup called the Universal Savings Account. The goal here is just pure simplification, because honestly, instead of logging into 4 different portals and juggling a million passwords, this aims to roll everything: your retirement savings, your health savings accounts, your 529 education plans, and even your emergency funds, all into one single unified hub.
And it's not just that your accounts might be consolidated. What you can actually put inside them is expanding dramatically. Future 401k plans are looking to shift way beyond your standard mutual funds. Seriously, we're talking about being able to allocate parts of your retirement into cryptocurrency, real estate, private equity, or even physical commodities like gold and oil.
Now, speaking of crypto, you'll definitely want to familiarize yourself with the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. This is a policy where the U.S. government would actually hold Bitcoin as part of its broader financial strategy. Supporters argue that having government backing could really legitimize cryptocurrency as a stable, long-term investment. And obviously, that would directly influence its presence in everyday retirement portfolios down the line. All right, Section 3, Loopholes and Tweaks, Maximizing the Rules.
The crucial point here is how different age and income brackets can leverage some highly specific new rules. For example, if you're between 60 and 63, you now qualify for super catch-up limits. This basically lets you turbocharge your savings in those final working years. Or maybe you're over 65? Well, there's an additional $6,000 tax deduction waiting to reduce your taxable income. And for high earners, you'll be happy to know the backdoor Roth IRA strategy is officially preserved. So indirect Roth contributions through traditional conversions are still very much in play.
However, high-income earners do face one major update to prepare for. Depending on your income thresholds, your catch-up contributions can actually no longer go into traditional IRAs. They now have to be directed into post-tax Roth IRAs. So it's a small tweak, sure, but a totally vital one when you're tax planning. Now take a look at this number, $35,000. If you're a parent or a family with a 529 education plan, this is massive. Under the new rules, unused college savings up to $35,000 of it can now be rolled over directly into a Roth IRA. So if your kid doesn't use all the funds, that money doesn't just sit there and you don't get hit with penalties upon withdrawal. Instead, it jumpstarts their retirement. The only catch is that the 529 account must have been open for at least 15 years. And for young adults just entering the workforce, we've got student loan 401k matching. Employers can now offer matching contributions that are tied directly to a worker's student loan repayments. This is huge, guys, because it finally solves that classic debt versus savings dilemma. You can aggressively pay down your student debt, and your employer will still put their match into your 401k exactly as if you were contributing to it directly.
Which brings us to Section 4, the macro shift. What this means for you. When you step back and look at all these changes together, a very clear new trajectory emerges. We're moving toward a retirement landscape that's defined by way more automatic investing. We're seeing increased government involvement through things like matches and strategic reserves. We've got greatly expanded access to diverse alternative markets, and ultimately, all of these mechanisms create this massive, continuous flow of money directly into the broader financial systems.
Now, as with any major systemic overhaul, there are two distinct perspectives here. Critics of these reforms warn that this setup vastly increases everyday citizens' dependence on financial markets for their retirement security. But supporters praise those exact same mechanisms, arguing that they create just unprecedented flexibility, lower barriers, and newfound accessibility for everyday Americans to build wealth. We're not here to pick a side, though. We just want to make sure you see exactly how the mechanics of the system are actually changing.
Because regardless of where you stand on the politics of this overhaul, the core takeaway is simple. Retirement planning is evolving quickly. Understanding how these new systems work and actively tracking how your money flows through them is going to become more important than ever for your long-term stability.
Which leaves us with one final thought to ponder. Are you ready to track the flow of your money in this new era of automated retirement? The rules of the game have totally changed, and the tools at your disposal have basically multiplied. Keep learning, take control, and make sure you're actively exploring how these newly expanded savings options can work for you. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.